Hello everyone, this video will go through the story of Castlevania Lords of Shadow 1 and 2. Gabriel travels to the forest looking for someone known as the Guardian of the Lake. He meets the Guardian, Pan, at the Lake of Oblivion. Gabriel says the Brotherhood of Light sent him because the world will be separated from heaven, and his deceased wife, Marie, awaits him at the lake, who will hold a clue to the world's salvation. With Pan's permission, Gabriel crosses the lake. And after defeating the giant god in the lake, he communicates with Marie. She informs him that spirits who founded the Brotherhood of Light told her that power of Lords of Shadow is the means to world salvation. After Marie disappears, a man from the Brotherhood of Light called Zobek introduces himself to Gabriel and says that they must enter the lands of Dark Lords in order to unite heavens with the world again, and that with this, Gabriel can bring Marie back to life. Then Gabriel decides to leave for the land of Lycans, while Zobek to the land of vampires, and afterwards, they will go on to the land of necromancers together. Gabriel journeys to the land of Lycans and meets Claudia, a mute girl who can telepathically communicate and read minds. She is protected by a golem called Black Knight. Claudia reads Gabriel's mind and offers to help him. They decide to rest. Gabriel stabs her and suddenly awakens from what was seemingly a dream. Pan materializes before Gabriel and cautions him not to let darkness possess him, and that he must take Black Knight's gauntlet for his own benefit. Though Gabriel exclaims he will not harm his two companions, to his shock, he notices Claudia is already dead under his dagger. Black Knight attacks Gabriel, and Gabriel kills him, procuring the gauntlet eventually. Gabriel buries Claudia and continues journey, eventually encountering the Dark Lord of Lycans, Cornel. Cornel defies Gabriel and tells him that when 3 founding members of the Order ascended to heavens, they left behind their dark sides, which is the Lord of Shadow, including himself. Gabriel defeats Cornel and receives a piece of the God Mask. Then Pan appears in the form of a giant eagle, taking Gabriel to the land of vampires. Gabriel rendezvoused with Zobek in a village, and the 2 men obtain a sacred relic from a village abbot who fell into madness. The vampires then try to kill Gabriel and burn the village, but the warrior subdues their lieutenant after an intense battle. On the following day, Gabriel leaves the village and with the help of a villager, finds the entrance to the castle of vampire Dark Lord, Camilla. After defeating a young vampire girl, Laura, on the chess, Gabriel is attacked by her lightning power. Laura, however, spares his life when seeing his spirit with Marie. At last, Gabriel encounters Camilla at the top of the castle. A battle ensues between them, and Gabriel kills her, gaining the second piece of the God Mask. Gabriel then departs for the land of the necromancers through a portal made by Pan. However, upon landing there, Gabriel is challenged by Pan to a fight, much to his confusion. Pan suffers a mortal wound afterwards, and tells Gabriel he challenged him in order to sacrifice himself to open a pathway to Gabriel's journey. Then he encountered the necromancer, who transformed into the Drakelich. Gabriel defeats the Titan for the last part of the mask. Zorbek appears before Gabriel with the devil mask, who wears it over his face, and it discloses that he is in fact the Lord of Necromancers, and the one who has cast the spell that separated Earth from heavens. He did all this because an evil force entered him, giving him a prophecy that to use Gabriel to combine the power of spirits into one. He is the murderer of Gabriel's wife, and he also manipulated Gabriel to kill Claudia so he could use the Black Knight's gauntlet to control Gabriel. Then Satan emerges and takes the God Mask from Zorbek, revealing himself to be the one responsible for granting him the prophecy from the beginning. His purpose is to revenge on God and return to the heavens. Gabriel confronts Satan and defeats him, releasing a dark spell that trapped the souls of deceased in limbo. Then Marie's spirit appears and tells Gabriel that the God Mask cannot bring her back to life, but only be used to see her. She kisses Gabriel before departing with the God Mask, leaving the destroyed Gabriel and Devil's Mask behind. After Marie's departure, Laura contacts Gabriel and asks him to return to Camilla's castle, because killing the three Lords of Shadow has made the barrier of dimensional prison shattered. A powerful demon, the Forgotten One, is trying to escape. As only a dark creature can enter the prison, Laura lets Gabriel drink her blood. In the prison, Gabriel stops the demon, steals his power, and uses it to slice the demon in two. Centuries later, Zorbek appears in a church, finding Gabriel living out an immortal life as a vampire there, who now has a new name, Lord Dracula. Zorbek mentions the acolytes of Satan are preparing for his return, and that they must stop him before Satan takes revenge. After centuries of sleep and nothingness, Dracula awakened, weakened, and decrepit looking. He exits the cathedral and walks in the streets of Castlevania City. He encounters a monster in a back alley. As he is still weakened, Dracula is easily defeated by his opponent. However, before the monster can finish Dracula, a mysterious figure appears out of the blue and kills the creature shortly before Dracula passes out. He wakes up sometime later in a dimly lit room of a human family. Dying for a drop of blood, Dracula brutally murders family one by one, regaining his young appearance in the process. Zobek approaches Dracula upon his awakening and explains to him that he must regain his powers and stop Satan and his acolytes. Dracula is then teleported to a science district, the Biochemical Corporation, in order to track Satan's first acolyte. Dracula infiltrates the corporation, making his way into the building. He encounters a group of scientists led by Reza Vakova, who are making a demonic virus that mutates people into monsters. As Reza is the acolyte, the two battle. Using a void sword, Dracula defeats her and brings her unconscious body back to Zobek to be interrogated. However, Zobek has had no luck interrogating Reza, nor can he read her mind with nothing but chaos inside it. Instead, Dracula proposes that they go back to the corporation to retrieve the antidote to the disease that affects her, so that they may return her to her human form. Once inside the biochemic, Dracula makes his way through his underground complex and arrives at a private train station. Stowing away on a train, he faces off against a powerful demon that attempts to kill Dracula by derailing the train. It, however, only succeeds in killing itself and everyone else on the train but Dracula. After successfully retrieving the antidote, Dracula returns to Reza and injects her with it. Instead of her transforming back into a human form, however, she turns into her true demon form as the daughter of Satan. While Zobek does his best to hide their presence, Gabriel fights and kills Reza. Returning to Zobek's compound, Dracula is informed that acolytes already suspect him in the death of Reza. Zobek knows that someone is searching for him in the church, and Dracula goes to confront him, hoping for a lead back to the acolytes. On his way back to the church, Dracula encounters an unknown man whom he observes that the most powerful of the demons are all out to kill. After a chase, the mysterious man flees, and Dracula has to defeat a huge demon in the museum's courtyard. Fighting him at the church, Dracula soon realizes that he wields much of the same equipment as he himself did before he was Dracula. After the brutal fight, the two fall into an underground city. When Dracula prepares to end a man's life, he realizes people are present in the underground. The man claims to be Victor Bellman, current head of the Brotherhood of Light, a protector of humanity. The underground city is acting as a refugee camp from the virus and chaos above, but Victor knows they won't be able to hide for much longer. To this end, Dracula gives Victor the antidote to the virus, and in exchange, Victor offers to help flush out the acolytes. On their way out of the church, they run into Zobek's bodyguard again, and the three of them battle a group of demons. With that out of the way, Victor uses a spell to set a trap for the acolytes with himself as a bait. The acolyte possesses a nearby statue and uses it to kill Victor. Zobek traces acolyte to the nearby building, which the company is the largest manufacturer of weapons in the world, and holds great influence over politics and economics. Once inside the building, Dracula faces off against the second acolyte, Nurgle Meslam's Tear, but realizes too late that Nurgle's power is greatly strengthened in his domain, while he himself is weakened and is easily electrocuted to submission. Knowing he is no match for his opponent, Dracula instead lures the acolyte into the castle and crushes his head under his foot. Zobek congratulates Dracula on his defeat of the second acolyte, but there is still one left, one of the several religious leaders who have locked themselves inside the monastery for weeks, and also he is the most powerful of them all. Together with the bodyguard, the two make their way to the monastery and find the acolyte. But at the last moment, the bodyguard disables Dracula and sends him back to the past, where Dracula finds his diary and regains his lost memories before his slumbering. He has a son, Alucard, who was raised up by Bellman. Alucard has planned Dracula's fake death to deceive Zobek and Satan in order to defeat them once and for all. Back into the present, the bodyguard reveals himself to be Alucard. The final acolyte finishes the ritual and disappears. Zobek takes his place, now aware of their plot. He takes on his true form, Death, and battles Dracula alone at the latter's insistence. After a grueling fight with the Necromancer Lord, Zobek dies, laughing at the end of Dracula's blade. Dracula proposes he and Alucard split up so that they can find Satan and his acolyte faster. They reunite at a church where Dracula first awoke. Where once summoned, Satan kills his acolyte for his incompetence. Aware of the fact that he can't buy the vampire's loyalty, Satan instead summons a gigantic leviathan to help him fight the vampires and destroy the earth. The two vampires are able to destroy the beast. However, as its corpse falls back to the earth, Satan possesses Alucard, forcing Dracula to once again fight his son and greatest nemesis at the same time on the corpse of Satan's mount. After the climactic battle, the two crash into the street. And when Satan realizes that Dracula intends to kill him and his son together, he flees from Alucard's body. Dracula takes his chance to kill him with the vampire killer and impales the devil. With Satan gone forever, Dracula revives his son